Hello again from Barbara Lardonnay, and we're talking about the end time signs, and this is part two. Today we're going to talk about some of the natural things that will be happening in the world to watch for and to keep on the alert for. One of the things is that we're told in Scripture that nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and in various places there will be famines and earthquakes. And it used to be when I first became a Christian and there would be preaching on the end times, and this would be preached, people would say, we've always had wars, we've always had famines, we've always had earthquakes. And they would just poo-poo, these aren't real signs. However, that isn't really what Scripture is saying. Scripture's kind of telling us that that is the way history goes along. But then the next sentence says, but these things are merely like the beginnings of birth pangs. So when we see these things, yes, we have always had those things, but who now can deny that we are not in very big increase in natural changes and disasters? The earthquakes and the tsunamis and the things that are happening, the natural disasters that are happening on the earth, and the famines that are widespread, those have increased. And scientists will tell you, and I've gone back and researched that a couple of times to see, is it just what people say, or is that actually happening? And that is actually happening. So this is another thing that tells us that we're in birth pangs. And a birth pang, there is going to be an end because eventually the baby is born. So birth pangs don't go on forever. So I wanted to talk about that. The other thing is lawlessness. And this is another sign that we can look at, which is happening right now. It says, and because lawlessness is increased, most people's love will grow cold. This is the one that we need to personally watch for, that your love does not grow cold, that we do not become so immune to the suffering and to the things that are going on in the earth that we don't care anymore, or we think that this group deserves it, or we just are desensitized to it. And when love grows cold, what happens? People, the compassion goes away. People begin to be very judgmental against each other. It's a growing cancer. For a Christian, that's not acceptable. We can't let our love grow cold. And we know that Jesus says in the book of Revelations, when he's talking to the Laodicean church, that they've become lukewarm. I think that we're there. I think that there is a lukewarmness in the church, and I think that that's the last church before the second coming. So I propose that to you, to look at those things, the things that are going on in the earth, as signs of the end time. Not really the end times, but signs of the second return of Christ. Next time we will talk about something a little bit different, and I hope you'll join me when we do. Thanks for listening.